Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Sage Karam, who will be one of the drivers for Alpha Prime Racing this year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me, Casey.
Let's talk about, of course, the deal that was announced a few weeks ago that you're going to be back in the Xfinity Series. And I know you've said in previous interviews that this is what you want to do, that NASCAR is kind of the career path that you want. How do you think that this opportunity is going to really kind of help you with that?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience still in stock car racing, but I definitely have quite a bit now after last year. I ran quite a few races with Alpha Prime Racing and then a few one-offs with Our Motorsports. So yeah, I'm definitely getting my feet wet in the whole stock car world and really enjoying it. Like you said, I think it's been a breath of fresh air for me. Just because I've been chasing that IndyCar route for so long, and it's been very difficult to find a full-time gig over there. But in NASCAR, it seems like there's just a lot of opportunities over here between truck racing, Xfinity racing, and Cup. So it's pretty cool. But as far as this year, I think it's more or less just continue to build that platform that I've started here and learn as much as I can with tracks. I'll be going to a lot of new tracks that I haven't been to yet, and continue just to learn how to race these cars. It's still quite foreign to me, but it is getting better. I am starting to grasp it a lot more, and be able to roll off the truck and go out for practice and kind of feel like grips with everything right away. So yeah, it's just another year of learning, honestly. And we had some good results this past year, and I'd like to continue those results and hopefully just be more competitive on a more weekly basis.
Yeah. So how many races do you plan on doing this year for Alpha Prime?
I think right now we're planned for 17, but I think we'd like to get that above 20. So I think right now the schedule is pretty good. It has a lot of road courses, which I like. A few of the road courses I haven't been to yet, so that'll be new and fun to do. It's got some super speedway stuff, which I got a little taste of last year with Daytona, which I really enjoyed as well. And then it's got more of like the mile and a half stuff that I don't have a lot of experience at yet. And I'm eager to find out how those will go.
Yeah. Are you going to be in the Indy 500 this year or no?
As of right now, no, I don't have an Indy 500 deal. But I think it's more or less I've just really put a lot of my effort and resources into making the stock car dream happen. And I'm okay with that right now. I think like I said earlier, like it's been a breath of fresh air for me to come over here to the NASCAR world, and I'm gonna, when I do something, I do it 100%. So I got all my eggs in this basket, and maybe someday in the future I can go back and run Indy 500. I'd love to run the double one day. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'll always keep that door open, but as of right now, I don't have a ride for the 500 this year.
Okay. Do you want to run the Indy 500 this year?
If somebody called me to do it, I'll do it. I'm a race car driver, and I love racing, and I'll race anything, anytime, anywhere. And I think I've proven that that I've been willing to jump into anything. And I've had a pretty cool career. I'm pretty blessed by that I've gotten the opportunity to drive a lot of different types of racing and different cars. And I always find that quite fun, and I embrace that challenge, to be able just to hop into something and try and be competitive right away.
So going into what are some of the tracks that you are for sure going to be racing at this year?
Well, my first race will be at Atlanta. So I ran there before. I like that place. I think that's more of kind of like a mini super speedway now. So that's always it's kind of a lottery, but it's fun. So I'll be doing that one. I think that's Atlanta 1, so it's pretty early in the season. And then after that, I think it's mostly road course stuff. I don't know. I think it's Coda would be the first one after that. But I think Coda I'll be going to, Sonoma, Road America, Chicago. Those are the road courses, I believe. And Charlotte Roval and Indy, of course. But then, some of the oval stuff, like I said earlier, I think I'll be going back to Daytona, and some new tracks like Darlington, I think is on our schedule as well. And that's one that I'm like itching to get to, just because it's going to be a challenge. I think, when I first came on board with Tommy Joe at Alpha Prime Racing last year, he kind of sent me the schedule and told me to circle races that I would want to do and, be open to doing, and kind of cross out ones that I didn't want to do. And Darlington was, I think, the only one I crossed out that I didn't want to do. Just in the sense that I think it's pretty difficult place to race at, and especially for a guy that is coming from open wheel racing. I think that's going to be quite different for me. But it's a challenge that, I'm ready for now. And I think I want to get after and try. And it's definitely something that I think like I need to do and teams need to see. And, I just need to know like how I shape up on those types of tracks. And I feel like that's kind of like the last part of the transition that I'm making here.
Yeah. And I know you had to go to a lot of places, but how did it feel to go back to Pocono with everything that happened to you there?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was great. That's another track I'll probably be going back to this year. I think for me to go back there was something I've had on my radar, pretty shortly after the accident happened in 2015. So I've always wanted to go back. I've had opportunities to go back and race, but I just never felt like I was actually ready to go back. And this year I finally, decided it's time, to go back there. And that was kind of the last part of my healing process there, was to be able to race there again. And it was pretty surreal, like Pocono in general holds a pretty special place to me just because it's my home track. So I get a lot of, local support, and a lot of people that can't come see me race, across the country, like will come to that race. So, just that in itself adds some pressure. But then, given all the circumstances of going back there, it was a lot, but it was something that I knew was going to be like that. It took me 7 years or so to be able to come to terms to be able to race there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I had to go back there. CRC was on board, and, they made that happen for me with Alpha Prime Racing. So I can't thank all of them enough for letting me do that. And I think for them, I think everybody knew there was a different purpose that weekend, rather than going out there and trying to, get the best result that you've ever had. I think everybody went in there with the anticipation that this is more than just another race weekend. This is part of something much bigger. And that was really cool, that I had that support. And because I do put a lot of pressure on myself for races, and especially, like I said, with Pocono being my hometown, I put a lot of pressure on myself there. But when you have people like that are taking the pressure off of you, it makes that process a lot easier. But yeah, I'll never forget it. Like going out for my laps of practice and just kind of, everything kind of was happening in slow motion kind of thing. I was just taking it all in. And, after I got through those first few laps and pitted, it was kind of like a sigh of relief. And then I knew I could just kind of go from there. And we did the race. And for me, the goal was to finish the race and kind of have a drama-free day. And that's what we did. And I think I was 20th that day. I was 21st on the last lap, and I knew that. And I wanted to get into the top 20. So I made a pass on the last lap to get to 20th. And for me, I feel like that was a successful day.
Yeah. So I know that you've been busy this off season, helping your dad out at at Easton High School. Of course, your dad Jody is the head coach at for Easton Wrestling in Pennsylvania. How exciting is it to go over there and help them out?
It's great. Wrestling's been a big part of my life growing up. It was a big part of my family for a long time before I was even born. So wrestling's kind of always been in my blood. I feel like when I was a little kid, I was supposed to be a wrestler. I wasn't supposed to be a race car driver, and racing was never in the cards. And then once racing became in the cards, it kind of took over, and wrestling kind of came, to the back seat there. And instead of wrestling year round, I only wrestled in season. And but I always wanted to be a part of it, and I really did love the sport of wrestling, and it taught me so many good values and lessons in life that I apply to everyday stuff, and especially to racing. And I think also it's just an incredible tool to have to stay in shape and get a good workout in. So yeah, I'm helping my dad coach right now at Easton. But for me, it's like I still get on the mat and scrap with the kids. Like I said, it's a great workout for me. So I feel like I'll always have wrestling in my life of some capacity, whether it's helping my dad coach, whether it's becoming a head coach, or, if I have kids one day, maybe they'll be wrestling, So yeah, it's definitely a great sport, one that I cherish, and one that I'm thankful for. And it was something that actually was something for me to be able to do when I was going through all that stuff at Pocono throughout the years. Because like a lot of the times all I had was racing. And when that happened, I didn't really know what else to do. And when wrestling season started in the winter there, after that crash, it was like the first thing that really got me going out of the house and could get my mind off things. So, I credit a lot to wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course, just getting this opportunity, and what's it been like? And obviously, what are your goals for this upcoming year?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to put like expectations and goals on what exactly I want to do. I think I had such a fun year last year, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. And I would expect kind of a similar year this year of, just kind of going in and trying to get the best result possible for the team. We got lucky at a few of those races and stayed out of trouble, and were able to get some really, really nice results. Like at Daytona, we got 5th. I think that was really, really cool. And I could sit here and say, obviously I want to better that. But that's going to be very difficult. A lot of things got to happen for us to beat, the big dogs in Xfinity. So, I think for me, I feel really comfortable at a lot of the tracks that I've been to. So, that being said, I think going back to tracks that I've already been to, I'd like to improve from, what I did before there. So if say that's Pocono, I'd like to do better than 20th, and I think on the road courses, I've been pretty competitive at Road America, running inside the top 5 there. And same with Charlotte Roval, with running 3rd with a couple laps to go before we had a problem. It's just, I think I can run those positions again at those tracks. So that's the goal, to finish those races in those spots. And also I think one of the main goals I have is figuring out qualifying. That's kind of been a struggle. With like the limited time of practice, you don't really get to try new sets of tires or anything like that. So when you go out there for qualifying and you have 1 lap to get it done, at a track like Bristol, if you miss it by half a tenth, that could be 15 spots, So I got to get better at feeling the limit of the tire, right away. And that's just all experience. And that's something that I'm really gonna, try and work on to make my life easier for the race. When you qualify 30th or something, it's pretty easy to go a lap down early, and that could really ruin your day.
All right. Well, Sage Karam, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck in 2023.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Casey.